They warned me about the house on Granger Lane, said it had a history, but history doesn't scare me, not like silence does. I thought the stories were just that, stories. Superstitious nonsense passed down from locals with too much imagination and not enough sense. Until I moved in, until I saw the portrait, until her eyes started following me. This is not a ghost story, this is a warning. The house was a steal, 5 bedrooms, wraparound porch, antique charm. The kind of place you dream of owning, but never can. It had sat unsold for years, despite its beauty. No one could explain why. I was desperate. New job in a new town, no family, no ties. I signed the papers within a week. The agent didn't meet my eyes when handing over the keys. That should have been my first clue. The first few nights were quiet, dusty, creaky, but nothing I didn't expect. It was on the 4th day that I discovered the room. It was locked. A small door at the end of the 2nd floor hallway, tucked behind a crooked grandfather clock. The key was already in my pocket. I didn't remember putting it there. Inside was a woman's bedroom, untouched by time. The air smelled faintly of lavender and decay. A canopied bed with lace curtains stood in the center, and on the wall, directly across from the door, hung the portrait. She was beautiful. Pale skin, deep brown eyes, and black curls pinned back in perfect 1950s fashion. But her expression was wrong, like she'd been caught mid-thought. Not smiling, not sad, more like suspicious. Her name was stitched into the corner of the painting, Margaret Elridge. I tried to look away, but her eyes held me, not in a romantic, poetic way, in a paralyzing way. I felt like a child caught stealing. Guilt, dread, shame. I left the room quickly and locked the door behind me. That night, I dreamed of her. She stood at the foot of my bed, lips stitched shut, eyes locked onto mine. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. When I woke, the sheets were wet with sweat, and there were muddy footprints on the floor. I live alone. Days blurred together. The house grew colder, though the thermostat was fine. Shadows moved without light. The sound of weeping echoed through the vents. I stopped going to the 2nd floor altogether, but every night I heard the click of that door unlocking, and every morning the portrait was closer. At first, I thought I was imagining it, but when I woke up to find it hanging at the foot of my staircase, I knew she wasn't just watching. She was coming. I tried burning it. The flame wouldn't catch. Tried leaving the house. My car wouldn't start. My phone stayed dead. A storm kept rolling in and never left. Like the whole world shrank around that house. And me, I started researching her. Margaret Elridge. The name didn't appear on any local census or newspaper. No obituary, no family records, nothing. It was like she had never existed. But an old man at the library whispered something I'll never forget. She died in that room, he said, not looking up from his book. Slit her wrists with a mirror shard after her husband locked her away from madness. Starved for days before the end. And when they found her, her eyes were open. Too open. I asked why she was locked up. He finally looked at me, and his eyes were wet with fear. She saw things, he said, things that saw her back. That night, I didn't sleep. I barricaded the bedroom door and kept the lights on. But just before dawn, I heard it. The shuffle of bare feet. The soft creak of old wood. The whisper that wasn't a whisper. More like a breath brushing your ear. You saw me. The lights flickered. My door creaked open. She stood there, drenched in shadows and blood, eyes wide, unblinking. But the worst part? She was smiling. For the first time since I moved in, Margaret Elridge smiled, and it made my blood freeze. Her mouth slowly opened, and from it came a sound I can't describe. It wasn't a scream. It wasn't words. It was everything I'd ever feared, all at once. I left that house before sunrise, walked 8 miles to town barefoot. When the police returned with me, the room was gone. No locked door, no portrait, just an empty hallway and a dusty old clock. They think I imagined it, that I cracked under stress. They even offered to help me find a therapist. But I know what I saw, and every mirror I passed since then, I see her, just behind my reflection, watching, waiting, The eyes of Margaret Elridge don't need a painting anymore, because once you see her, she sees you too. If you're watching this, and you ever find yourself on Granger Lane, don't go near that house. And whatever you do, don't look into her eyes. But if you already have, tell me, have they started following you too? Leave a comment below if you've ever had an experience you can't explain. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that you won't forget, no matter how hard you try. And then she vanished.